My group and I were tasked with discovering root causes of errors in scheduling accuracy within the Mary Greeley gastroenterology lab. The MGMC GI lab works in unison with the GI department at the McFarland Clinic to schedule and perform GI procedures. In fact, the physicians who conduct the procedures are McFarland physicians, and the scheduling process is handled on the McFarland side. Through analysis of data received, it was discovered that only 39.6% of procedures were beginning on time, and nurse schedules became extremely variable. In order to tackle the problems at hand at the MGMC GI lab, we first began by setting objectives, which Liz will now go over.
The three objectives for this project were to, first, increase schedule adherence from 39.6% to 70%. Second, to decrease the average percent non-value added time in a procedure room from 18.4% to 10%. And finally, to identify potential sources of miscommunication between McFarland Clinic and MGMC. The three objectives for this project were to, first, increase schedule adherence from 39.6% to 70%. Second, to decrease the average percent non-value added time in a procedure room from 18.4% to 10%. And finally, to identify potential sources of miscommunication between McFarland Clinic and MGMC. We conducted a schedule adherence analysis for each physician. Average lateness, percent of late procedures, and schedule adherence, or the percent of on-time procedures, were calculated.
In order to address the low schedule adherence that was discovered during our analysis, we decided to establish new standard scheduling times for both the room times and physician times. Average procedure times were established using the EPIC data that was provided to the team and were calculated for all of the 16 physician procedure combinations. We also determined buffer times for pre-procedure preparation, between procedures, and cleaning time through observation. The equations used to calculate the standard times are shown here. Here you can see the standard room and physician scheduling times for all 16 physician procedure combinations. These times will be incorporated into the EPIC scheduling software so that standard times are automatically used when schedules are made.
A schedule was randomly generated using the current probabilities of each procedure type. The schedule was modeled for 1 week to maximize physician utilization. This simulation also generated random actual procedure times from the determined distributions to calculate their fit with the generated schedule. These times were then used to calculate the capacity of procedures per week, average lateness, and schedule adherence.
After simulating the new schedule, statistics were calculated and compared to the current state. Through implementing these new standard times, the GI lab can expect to see an average of 4.5 additional patients a week, a decrease in average lateness by 25 minutes, and to improve schedule adherence to 93%. Looking at these improvements through a different lens, these changes will also decrease non-value added time by 13%.
While there was an unwritten standard of communication for McFarland to use when contacting MGMC about appointment updates, we believed it would be beneficial to have something concrete to follow and use to keep people accountable. As such, we created a procedure depicted by the flowchart seen here. However, we also felt that if McFarland was to be held to a standard, then MGMC should be as well in order to keep information moving with consistency.
The team established a metric referred to as schedule adherence. Schedule adherence is the percentage of procedures that start early, on time, or less than 15 minutes after the scheduled time. The overall target adherence rate is 70%. Each day, the metric will be displayed on the whiteboard with a color code to signal progress. The metrics will also be individualized by physician. This will identify areas in need of additional support or resources.
Another metric that was established by the team is referred to as scheduled duration accuracy. This is the ratio of actual physician time to scheduled physician time. The metric will be reported as an overall metric and as an individualized metric for each physician. The purpose of this metric is to monitor whether the standard times that have been established continue to reflect reality and will be used to sustain scheduling improvements over time. The figure here shows a historical representation of the scheduled duration accuracy, with lines plotted for each physician and the lab as a whole. Based on the established standard times, a theoretical scheduled duration accuracy line was also plotted and is labeled as new. It can be seen that this line falls within the target throughout the 3-month period.
The economic opportunity comes from a combination of increased communication procedures and an increased capacity from the new scheduling model. Mary Greeley's economic opportunity sums to $1,028,300, and McFarland's economic opportunity sums to $352,560, and the total opportunity increase is $1,380,860. Thank you to all of the Mary Greeley and McFarland staff for their support and guidance throughout this project.